Jonny Ray is with us normally at this time. Not always, though, because it just depends on how things go. Sometimes earlier, but usually we save it for the very end. Jonny Ray's Game of the Week. Last week, Jonny Ray, you brought back a favorite, Hearthstone. It had some sort of an expansion pack released for it. This is a free card game that is based in the World of Warcraft universe.
Yes, Hearthstone is free to play.
You have been raving about Hearthstone for months on and off the air. You have played it quite a bit, especially now that this new expansion pack is out. As I understand it, you spent quite a bit of time on that within the last week or so.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you want to share tonight? Because, I mean, obviously that's what you've been busy playing, so there's probably no new aspect about that to discuss, or at least, not from a general interest. But what do you want to highlight?
Well, Ian, in fact, the Curse of Naxxramas, which is the expansion that I got into last week, is, I think it's five wings, and each one is going to be released a week apart. So today I was actually looking forward to talking about the latest wing that's opening. Last week it was the Arachnid Quarter, spider-themed, obviously, and this week it's the Plague Quarter. However,
is that disease themed?
Very good, Mark. Yes, it is. The release time is 11:59 Pacific time, 11:59 p.m. Pacific for U.S. players. So now I think that hasn't happened yet. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock over in the West Coast.
Okay, so 6 hours away. So I'm unable
6:50.
Right. And maybe that was because there were some hiccups. I thought it went pretty well, but there was a good 20 to 30 minute stretch of time last week where it was impossible to get into Battle.net to play because I think World of Warcraft itself actually went down that day, and a bunch of those players were trying to get in to play Hearthstone. It was a mess. But anyway, it's not available, so I can't talk about the Plague Quarter. But what I've been thinking about was...
You're staying up late tonight, right, Jonny Ray?
I can't do it.
You gotta work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, though.
I'm considering it, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. It'll be there when you get off work tomorrow.
Right. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So, Ian, I'm going to ask you a question, and you might not know the answer. Which card game do I prefer, Hearthstone or Dominion?
Well, I know you're a huge fan of Dominion. I mean, I don't know which you prefer because you've been playing a lot of Hearthstone recently. Dominion is a physical card game that has an online version that is a very popular game. Hearthstone, I don't believe, has a physical version.
No, it doesn't. I've heard that it would be impossible to make a physical version. I'm not sure if that's true.
I'm going to go with Dominion because it is a more versatile game.
Dominion, I prefer Dominion to Hearthstone. I think Dominion, without a doubt, is a better game. It's fundamentally different. They're two different kinds of games. Hearthstone is a collectible card game. You get your cards, you create a deck, and you play that deck against other people. Dominion gives you a random assortment of cards, stacks of identical cards. Of the different stacks have different cards on them, but the stack is full of the same kind of card. And then you go in, everybody starts with an identical deck, and you're building your deck as you play. And that puts everyone on a level playing field.
Unless they're experienced, in which case experience is going to count in Dominion. If you know how to play, you probably will be all right against some noobs. But even so, a newbie can win their first time in Dominion.
That is true. That was an interesting hallmark of the game. I thought that that new people could come in and be lucky and win more so than maybe in some other games. But so I played Dominion. I loved Dominion. I bought every time a new box came out. I would get
the collection.
I would get a new one, and then a fan, a very programming competent savvy fan created a fan site that duplicated the game and automated it. I don't think there was like a single player version. They didn't create an AI for it, but they created an environment where Dominion players could go in and meet up for games and play against each other. So that didn't exist
before a fan made it? It wasn't the company that did that?
Right. It was a fan.
That's neat.
And it was a very robust platform. and a robust environment. I guess I'm not sure what the right word is I'm looking for.
What does that mean, robust?
It means in this context. It means that there were a lot of features in the site.
Okay.
You could see there were thousands of players playing the game, and you could see your record against any player. You could just use a search, and you could see how many wins and losses you had against any one player, and it would keep track of your success with different kinds of cards.
And it was free,
so
right?
forth. And it was free.
Okay.
And when the new expansions were coming out, this guy was adding it to the website, and he was doing it with the blessing of the creator of the game.
No kidding.
Donald X. Vaccarino is how
now
I
that's
pronounce
cool,
it.
man. That's a cool guy.
Yes, and it was a beautiful thing. I whiled away the hours there, and I thought it was time profitably spent. Now, Rio Grande Games and Donald X. Vaccarino went into a business deal with GoCo. GoCo is a web developer, I think, or they made an agreement with them that GoCo would create a web version of Dominion that people could buy their way into.
So reinvent the wheel. I mean, this fan already made an awesome version of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to make another one? Or when was this that they decided to do this?
This was probably 2.5 years ago.
Okay, so it's probably done then.
It is done. Yes,
okay.
It's done, and I've played it.
How's it compare to the original freebie?
I haven't explored all the functionality of it. It is more... I haven't done any multiplayer on it. I've only done single player. They sort of had this adventure mode that I thought would be kind of neat. And it's fun. One of the advantages to the GoCo version, the legitimate version, if you will, is that it has the original art. The Dominion.isotropic was the fan site. Isotropic had all the cards, but it had
the name of the card.
They didn't use the art. They got different art.
But
supposedly the art they used was the art that Donald X used in his mock-ups of the game when he was designing it.
So, all right. So why are you bringing all this up?
Because I like Dominion better, and I could pay to play it, but I play Hearthstone instead, which I don't like as much, and I did lay down money to play Hearthstone. But Hearthstone started out as free to play. There's I think 500 cards total, plus a few more now that these expansions are coming out. But there's 500 cards total. You start the game basically with a little over 100. And if you like, you can play and win in-game currency, buy decks, and grow your collection. And I enjoyed doing that just fine. It was enjoyable. Like I said, I guess I used the word twice, but it was great fun to build my collection for free. Just go in and play. I was playing against other people, so I had that human opponent, which is key for a real challenge. And when this expansion came out, I was just so pleased with Hearthstone that I spent $20 to unlock the whole wing. So when that adventure opens up at 4 in the morning or whatever for me, I'm not gonna have to pay for it. It's gonna be there ready for me. All of these wings, I've got them already because I wanted to. So
you've unlocked all of the ones that are coming out for $20?
No, I've unlocked this particular
one.
Just the
1 week's worth.
5 weeks worth.
5 weeks. I thought it was once per week that they were doing. Is once every 5 weeks?
They've got this thing called Curse of Naxxramas, which is in 5 parts, and each one of those comes out every week. Okay. And then when that's done, who knows when the next great expansion will be out.
So what are you saying? You're saying that you don't like Hearthstone as much as Dominion, but yet you shelled out money for Hearthstone.
Because of the business model. Also, it's a little bit because of the vagaries of what happened with Dominion. See, Dominion sort of... Donald X, when he made that agreement with GoCo, he kind of, even though he didn't really take anything away from me, he took something away from me because Isotropic, they were buddies with Donald X, and they respectfully closed down Isotropic.
They shut down their service.
GoCo went up. Yeah. And I think I think many of them went on staff with GoCo. Maybe not. But the practical effect to me was I had a fantastic online Dominion game with loads of players to play with, and then when the officially licensed version went up, then I didn't, and I would have had to pay.
But the officially licensed one, is it free at all?
Yes, it is free at all. The basic set of cards, you can play with those, but if you want to get any of the expansions, you have to buy them. And I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. I want to support them too, but I haven't yet.
You only have so much time and only have so much money. Jonny Ray's Game of the Week, and we'll be back tomorrow. You can join us online. Maybe we'll talk about the police hazing at that time. Join us online in the meantime at freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.